Hello and how are you? My name is Mahindo Barak and I welcome you to our second video of learning how to create web applications using Laravel. So in the previous first video, we got introduced at Laravel. We saw what you need to have in place in order to get started with Laravel, and we also created our very first project of Laravel. So if you watched the previous video, you're now at the same level with us. If you did not watch, I recommend you to go to the previous video and make sure that you follow it carefully so you can be on the same level with us. So with that much said, let us proceed to our today's business. In today's video, we are going to largely look at how we can use GitHub to manage our source code. So Git and GitHub, if it is new to you, it is a software that we use to store and control our source code. So in case you want to have your source code in place, even though you lose your machine, you're able to recover it. Or if you work in a team, you're able to do everything in the same place. Like the better way of keeping your source code, you need to know about what you call source code managers. We have different source code managers. So the most popular one is GitHub and Git and GitHub. So today I'm going to introduce you to Git and GitHub. If you already know it, then that's good. If you don't know it, then you should be very careful and very attentive to watch these videos so you can get introduced to GitHub. So by the end of this video, you should be able to make use of this GitHub, because you really need it. That's why I make it the second video of this wonderful tutorial. So as we introduced it like that, so let us go ahead and now do the real GitHub and look at the real GitHub. So to set GitHub on your computer, if you already have it, then that's good. If you don't have it, you just need a few things, and I'm going to take you through. So the first thing, just simply come to your browser and search Git. Okay, just search Git. Okay, so when you search Git, this is what you'll get. So according to whatever platform you're using, if you're using Mac or Windows, you will see this as a first result. So go ahead and say download GitHub for Windows if you're using Windows. If you're using Mac, it's also there. So go ahead and download this GitHub for Windows setup if you're using Windows 32. But for me, I already have it, so I don't need to even download it. Okay, so let it download, and you wait for it to do what? To finish. So when it will finish, or when it will be done with installing, when it will be done with downloading GitHub, you'll go ahead. Me, I already have it, so I'll not install it again. So you'll go ahead and open that file. So once you open that file, installing it is simple. You'll just simply click next until it is set on your computer, which is really simple to install GitHub. What matters is to know what it is used for. So go ahead and wait for this file to do what? To install. So after it has successfully, I'm going to cancel it because I already have it on my computer. But as I've told you, it is really simple to install. Go ahead and download it from here, and then when it finishes, download it, open it, open it, and then install it. So once you have GitHub on your computer, so the next thing is you install it. After you've installed it, after it's finished downloads, after installing it. So the next thing is to test if it has successfully installed on your computer. So to test if it has successfully installed on your computer, just simply run the command prompt, open your command line or your CMD, and then write Git. Okay, so if you write Git, you will see a lot of things coming. If they say the command was not found, then it's unfortunate you did not install it properly. But you just search a little bit online on how you can install it in case you did not install it successfully. But if you write something like Git, then -- version like this, you should be able to get the version of GitHub that is installed on your computer. So as you can see, this is the version of GitHub that is on my computer. So that's done. So it means that I've successfully installed a GitHub on my computer. So that is step number one. I hope you can pause this video and install it. If you already have it on your computer, well and good. If you don't have it, please pause the video and do what I've just told you. So after installing it, the next step is to install GitHub for Windows or GitHub desktop. Okay, so GitHub desktop, it will give us advantages of user interface that will not need to memorize a lot of commands to deal with GitHub. It will just give us an interface so you can work with GitHub directly. So to install GitHub for Windows, just simply search download GitHub for Windows like this. Okay, so you click on when you search download GitHub for Windows, this is what you get. So at the first search result, the other one was Git. Now you're installing the GitHub software, the GitHub itself. So go ahead and click on GitHub for desktop and then click on download. So the download button will be here, straightforward. If you're using Mac, go for Mac desktop. If you're using Windows, go ahead and download this GitHub for Windows. But just simply click on download and then it will straightly go start downloading, as you can see here. Okay, but as I told you, I also have it. So if I click on download, it will start downloading. Okay, so for me, I'm going to pause it or cancel it because I already have it. But once it finishes downloading, please open it and then click on install and then click on next, and you'll have it installed on your computer. As simple as that. It is simple to install, simple to use, but the only thing that I'm showing you is its purpose. What do you use it for and why you need it? So please download it, let it finish downloading, then go ahead and install. So after installing it, you will be able to have it on your installed applications. Okay, so you see, this is my GitHub. Okay, so this is GitHub. So after installing GitHub, the next thing is now you have to create the GitHub account, or you have to log in to GitHub. So to log into the GitHub, just simply come to your browser, come to your browser and search GitHub. Okay, I mean GitHub, something like github.com. Go ahead and search github.com. Okay, so click here to open GitHub. So you just simply go to github.com literally, and this is what you'll get. Okay, so what we're doing right now, we are creating a GitHub account. If you already have an account, then well and good. Okay, so and we're in the browser right now, like Google Chrome. So you can go ahead and say sign up, and then to sign up your account, you just simply put here your name. I mean, it's still loading. We just put there your username and your name. You create an account. Creating an account is very, very simple. You see, welcome to GitHub. Enter your email. You go ahead and put here your email. Okay. So after entering your email, they say, okay, enter your first name, your last name, date of birth, what and what, and then save. So after saving, you'll be able to have an account of GitHub, and you log in. So creating an account of GitHub is very simple, so don't get demoralized. But the whole point here, you'll have a username after creating the account. So after creating GitHub account, the next thing is now to link your GitHub that you installed on your computer with the one that you have here. So with the account that you've created. So to log into the account that you have on your computer with GitHub, you just simply open the GitHub that you have on your computer, which is this one. Okay, this one. I hope you can see it. Let me hide everything. This. Okay. So click on I think help, and then click on click on file, click on options, yeah, and then you'll see account on top here, and then you'll see sign in somewhere there. You will see sign in. Okay, so you click on sign in, it will ask you to launch the browser, and then to launch the browser, it will ask you to authorize it, and then it will successfully sign you in. So signing with GitHub is very, very simple. Okay, it is not very hard. So please don't fear, because I'm not showing you step by step, but I'm hoping that you being at this level, you can simply understand what I'm talking about and be able to follow the steps accordingly. So go ahead and sign in by just simply coming to file, and then come to options or something, settings, and then click on account, and then if you're not signed in, they will ask you to sign. But for me, I'm already signed in, right? So I don't need that. So when you sign in successfully, you will have something like this. So it means that you can now start creating your your repositories. So a repository is a certain project that you have on GitHub. Okay, so that's what you call what? That's what you call repository. So I'm going to put the project that we have just created on GitHub, so that when I publish, you can be able to access my source code at anywhere, at any level. So to create a project of GitHub, there are so many ways of how you can create a project. One way, you can just simply come here to file and then say new repository. Repository, it means a project. So enter here the repository name, and here put the location where I want this repository to be saved, and then say create repository. So that is how you create a what? A repository. But if you already have a repository, okay, another way, you can just simply come to github.com, that's the second way, github.com, and then you come here to repositories, just simply click on new repository, and then you get the same form. Okay, so once you have it here, later you can push it on your computer. So the process of getting your GitHub, the project from internet to your computer is what you call cloning. So later you'll clone it by just simply, I'll show you how to clone a repository. But this I'm just showing you the second way of how you create a repository. So the third way, which is I think the simplest way and the most straightforward way, is just to drag and drop a certain folder that you want to be maintain through GitHub. Don't drag and drop their useless folders, but drag and drop projects. Okay. So I'm going to go where we created our yesterday's project. If you still remember, I created my project under disk C under GitHub. So for me, I created a special folder where I keep my GitHub repositories, which is here. And if you still remember, our project is called eblog, this one, okay, this one. So I'm going to go on top of the project, this on very top, and then drag and drop that repository, that project to this GitHub, okay. So let me go ahead and do that. I'll drag and drop. I find that one to be very simple and most straightforward way of creating GitHub repository. So I drag and drop it, I leave it there. So when I put it there, they will say that we don't recognize this as a GitHub repository. They will ask me that, do I want to create one? I'll just say, okay, yeah, this of course is a new one, okay? So I'll say, okay, no problem, create a repository. So they will set for me the folder, everything, okay? And just put here the name of the project, okay? So I can give it a name. I can call it eblog, maybe I can call it Laravel project, Laravel news project, like this, okay? Laravel news project, okay? So that is the name of my repository, okay? Laravel news project. Make it to be simple and straightforward. Okay, so they tell me we'll create for you, so you cannot have space in your repository, so that's why this is how my repository look like, okay? Laravel news project, okay? Or Laravel e-commerce project, whatever you want. So you see, the steps are straightforward, okay? So I'm trying to create a repository for me to share my code with you, or to keep my code for future. So after doing that, so the next thing I'll just simply say create repository. So in a secret repository, you'll see it here processing. So it is creating for me a repository, and it has finished. So you can see my repository, it is here. It is called eblog. Okay, the folder, it is here called eblog. So after creating the repository, so the next thing I'll have to make this repository to become public. Now I have to put it on internet. By the way, you can even maintain everything without putting it on internet. But right now I want to store it on internet so you can also be able to access it. So to do that, I'll just simply make sure that I'm pointing at the repository that I want, one that I've just drag and drop, and then I say publish repository. So I say publish repository, they'll ask me the name that I want to this project to be, okay? So I can call it maybe Laravel news project, okay? Okay, so that's the name of my project. Okay, Laravel news project. I'll go ahead and say publish. So before you publish, there is something here that you have to check out, which is called keep the clone private or not. So if you say private, it means that there's no one who can see it apart from you. But if you keep it public, it means that anyone can see it. So So I'm going to keep it public so that if I share the link with you of my project, you can be able to access my source code even without any problem. So let me go ahead and say publish repository. So when you say publish repository, it is going to do the whole logic of putting this repository to internet. So anyone who wants to follow my source code, they can find it on internet. So it is done. So this makes life very simple, whereby you can even collaborate with another person by adding them to this repository, or anyone can access your project. So if I want to view this repository on internet, it is very simple. There is a button for me here where I can click on and it takes me to internet. Or I can simply come to github.com here, and if I'm already logged in, I'll be able to see my repositories by simply clicking here, come to show more, or I can just simply come here, click on my icon and say your repositories, okay? So that's where I can find my repositories. So these are my projects, so what you call repositories, so all of them are there, okay? So what you do, if you want to open it, you see, if I click on this Laravel news project, you can see it is it was updated 1 minute ago. So if I share with you this link, you can be able to do what? To access this project at this particular time without any pain. So even though my laptop gets lost or anything, I can be able to get my project by just simply cloning it. So I'm talking about a new term called cloning. Cloning is the process of now getting the project from internet to your computer. That's what you call what? That's what you call cloning. So let us say maybe you want to work on 2 computers or multiple computers, you can simply clone this project. Let us say that I want to work with multiple people on this project where they can also contribute. I can just simply come here to settings and then come to what we call control collaborators here, and then come to my internet is slow, and then put your password to confirm, and then I can add here a collaborator. Okay, so for example, I can add my friend if I know his email, if I know his password, his email or his username on GitHub. I can add that person here. So if I add this person, he'll get a request that I want that person to act as a collaborator on my project, and then that person will accept. And once that person accepts to work as a collaborator on my project, then that person will be able to do what? Will be able to start commenting or adding his source code or contributing to my to my project. So it is that fun, and it is very, very powerful technology that you really, really need in your journey of being a programmer or working in the software or working in tech. So it is very powerful. So if I change something, I'm going to okay, let me show you how we clone. So you can see I have so many repositories. So if a repository is in public, you can see this one is a public repository. If it is a project is in public, anyone can clone it. And if it is private, it is only the owner can clone. So let me look here for a project that I don't have offline. For example, this project called let me look for a project that I don't have offline. Okay, this one. Okay, I want to get a project that I don't have offline, so I can show you how to use it. Okay, so let me come to this. Okay, this project is not offline. Okay, so if I want to put it, or if I want to put it on my computer, I'll just simply click on that project, or whatever project that you come across, even this one that I've just finished creating. You can clone it, you can add it on your computer, on your laptop. So I'll go ahead and copy that project. After copying it, and then I come to GitHub, and then say clone repository. So if I'm using a URL, I just simply click on the URL link. If you're already logged in, you can find your repositories here. So if it's a new computer or it's another computer, can clone it. So if you have a link, you can just simply click on URL and then paste there the link of the repository. So you see, so this repository is going to be hosted here in host, host. So if I click on clone, so GitHub is going to do the whole logic of getting this repository, of getting this project to my computer. So I'll have this project installed on my computer. So after doing that, so it means that I have now GitHub installed on my computer. I mean, my project installed on my computer. So you see, it can take a minute to download, but it can really show you. So that is how a cleaner way of sharing your code or maintaining your source code. So let me go back, and I want to switch back to the project that we just created. It's called Laravel News Project, this one. So if I want to open this project straight to Visual Studio Code, you find here the buttons. So if I say view in Visual Studio Code, the system, the GitHub will take me to where? To here where my project is in Visual Studio Code, which is really nice. So it has changed nothing. So the next thing, Visual Studio Code also comes with GitHub integrated. Okay, so to do that, you just simply click here. So if it is your first time, if you're not logged in, it will ask you to log in. So you can as well come here to accounts and then come to GitHub and then log in if you are not logged in. So even Visual Studio Code, it is integrated with what? With GitHub. So in case you want to make a change and you want to publish it on internet, you can simply use that one to send it there. So now I'm going to show you other two things. What is it? That is what is called pushing and pulling. Okay, so to push means that you're sending your changes to the online version, or you're sharing your changes to anyone who had cloned your project, or anyone who is working on that particular project as maybe as a teammate. So I'm going to create here some changes and I show you how we can push using these interfaces. So let me come, for example, to this .im file. Okay, I'm going to add just a new comment. Okay, I'm going to add a new comment. So to add a comment to .im file, you just simply write hash. Okay, so I'm going to come here and let me put on top, really on top, I can say new project. Okay, I can say news project. Okay, so this is a new change. So when I save, if I'm already logged in Visual Studio Code, it will show me that there is, okay, this one is ignored. I will tell you about ignored files as well in the future. So let me come to maybe a file that we can work with, for example, this example file. Okay, so let me come to this example file and then put news project. So when I save, if this file is being tracked, you can see here that if I'm even logged in, you can see here that it has showed me that there's something that has changed, one file that has changed. So if I click here, I can find that file. I can reverse it if I want to undo the changes, etc. So if I come here also to the software, I'll find here GitHub telling me that there is a file that has changed. So the next thing I'll have, if I'm sure of those changes, I'll have to commit. Commit means that you're confirming that the changes are okay. So I'll have to commit, then I push. Okay, push means that you're now sending the changes to internet. So you can either commit from here, from Visual Studio Code, or you can commit here from the GitHub software. So let me commit. I can put my comment. So every commit goes with what? With a comment. Okay, so I can say changed the env file. Okay, or you can put something that can explain. So after, you can write here some details and then say commit. So when you commit, it means that you're committed to this branch or the main branch. I'll explain the branch in future videos. Okay, so after committing, so the next thing you'll have to publish that particular change. Okay, so to publish that particular change, you can either use Visual Studio Code to push. That's what you call pushing. You're pushing online. Or you can use GitHub software to push. Then you say push. So when I push, it means that if I come here to my GitHub and I come to this file that I've just changed, let me come to my repositories. Okay. My internet is very slow. Don't worry about that. So you see, you have just pushed. So when you push, there will be no issue. I think my internet is just slow. Let me push again. I think my internet is just misbehaving. I don't know why. So it is pushing. But if you're using good internet, it will have to be really, really fast. Within like 2 seconds, it should have pushed. So when it pushes and it finishes, you'll have to pull from this side. Okay, so you'll have to see the changes that So that is how we use GitHub. So if you want to get my source code, you'll find of my GitHub, you'll find the link in the description of this video. Go to the link and then what? And then clone it. Okay? Go ahead and come here to my project, to my account, and then click on repositories, and then you'll find this project that we've just done, this one here. Let me push again. You'll find it here. And then come to the file, for example, that one that I've just changed, which is here, for example. So you'll see the code here and the new comment that I just added. Okay, so that is it. It is really beautiful, right? So now let us say maybe another friend has changed the code and he wants to change their changes. So for me, I can put here another comment. I can come here and say edit. I want to edit from internet, and then I send that change. I can say maybe another comment from online, and then I commit. Okay, I can say another comment. So this is to assume that another person has worked remotely and then they have pushed their changes. Okay, so if I come here to my GitHub, it will ask me, where is it? It is this one. So it will tell me that there is a new change, okay, or what we call pulling. So you can just simply come here and say pull. Okay, I click and then say here, come to GitHub and then say pull. Here, pull. So pull means that you're getting changes from internet, or you can use as well GitHub itself and click here to fetch or to get internet changes from internet. So if it gets changes from internet, you look at our file, you see there's something new that is have come. See, there's one that is coming. So you look at your file, you see there's this comment that I just added itself here. So why? Because it is coming from what? From internet. So that's how you can work as a team on the same one, on the same repositories. So what you should do, go ahead and clone my project if you want by just simply clicking on my project here. The link is in the description of this video, or you can even come here to my username and click on this particular project, and then go ahead and come here to repository and then clone it. So when you clone it, you'll have my project in your what? In your computer. So all the changes that I be making, you can be getting them. So that is very, very important for you to learn and understand GitHub. So even though it may confuse you at this time, but please don't give up on it. It is very, very important. That's why I've made it the second video of this journey. So go ahead and challenge yourself and do it. If you already know it, then well and good. So in the next video, we'll have to proceed from there, where we are going to now go deep into Laravel. So every change that I'll be making in each video tutorial, I'll be pushing it on internet. So you can also be able to do what? To get my source code from your side, maybe for practice. Using what? Using GitHub. So please don't get demoralized. Make sure that you understand this GitHub properly. Okay, let's meet in the next video. Now we're going to proceed in details with what? With Laravel. So, and you can as well learn details of GitHub from other teachers. There are so many resources that you can find about GitHub online. So see you in the next video, and don't miss.